Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you. So I'm one of those new members that joined over the summer because it was super exciting, after the European elections. Yeah, it's been a really warm welcome, so thank you so much. So we jumped on to the Europarty project, right? How to get EUPP status, so that's European Union Political Party status. And so today, what we want to do is really give you the foundation to actually understand what's going on, because it's pretty technical. So what we will talk about today is what is a European political party? Actually, what's that status? Why should we even become one? Why bother? Why is this the first step on our staircase? How do we become one? And then what is our plan, and how can you support in achieving that status, right? So those are the topics that we will talk about. And yeah, and just to connect the dots with the strategy yesterday, right? It's that very first step within our staircase. We're going to go try and make that. Awesome. Great. So, but Eva, maybe you can explain what it actually is, right?
So for all the people who are now wondering, okay, EUPP, that sounds really cool, European Union Political Party. But what does it actually mean? So I'm going to take you through a bit of the facts. If you get distracted or confused, then I think it can be quite normal. But let's start with the definitions. So we are wondering ourselves, what is a European Union political party? Let's start with that last part. So political party is defined by that regulation as an association of citizens which pursues political objectives and is either recognized by or established in accordance with the laws of at least one EU member state. So I think, I talked to some people from Hungary as well, I think even creating a party in one country can already be quite a challenge. But then becoming a European political party actually means that we are described as a federation of national political parties from several member states which are united by political affinity. And I know it's not nice to read from the slides, but I didn't want to mess up the definition, so apologies. Even though it's quite a challenge to actually become a national political party, we currently have 18 political parties in different countries, so on the national level. And today we're going to walk you through how we aim to move from that political party status to the European political party status. Just for sort of an example, there's a difference in, again, the national party and the European party, but then also European political party and a European Parliament group. So the group is a lot bigger. We might aim for that later.
Yes, it's on the staircase, right? So
it's on the staircase, but for today, we don't really focus on it yet. Examples of European political parties are the European Greens, the Alliance of Liberals and Democrats for Europe Party, for example. But then in the group, it's, for example, Renew or European Greens and EFA. So it can also be an alliance. But I don't want to focus too much on those details and focus on what it means to become a European political party. This is an example scenario. So we need at least 7 elected officials from 7 countries across Europe. And it can be a European, a national, or regional elected official. Yeah, so I know I talked to people about this topic before, and then I thought it also could be on the local level. Apologies, it's only regional, national, and European. Yeah. So you might wonder, okay, this picture looks nice. This is what we are working towards. But for now, we have 5 people elected in the European Parliament, and 3 on the national level. But again, only from 3 different nationalities. So then we are 3 out of 7. So we have 4 missing. But I think we are going to present a great plan on how we are going to get those 4.
Yeah, we are. Okay, great, thanks. So, why become a European political party? Why even bother, with that specific strategy? Why don't we just focus on what we're doing already today? Well, wrong direction. Why focus on that? Well, first of all, we would become an officially recognized European political party. That in itself is a great goal, right, to achieve. So that's step 1. Reason number 2, though, is because European political parties get funding from the EU. There is a budget that essentially provides, political parties who want to apply for that, some funding to be somewhat more independent, ultimately, from donations and from major donors, right? So they provide such a budget. And we could access that then. Third one, wow, that slide is not great.
Third one is a secret.
Third one's a secret. No, the third one is the third one is really much more about me being able to move resources across different areas. So we would receive European legal personality, meaning that we would be recognized as as Volt Europa in all of the different member states, which gives a lot of flexibility. Third one is obviously broad visibility, right? Wow, that means we'll be invited to more debates and so on, news conferences. Our opinion will be asked more and more. So yeah, definitely, let's do that. And then obviously the third one is that flywheel effect, right? So if we are a recognized European political party for all of the, especially the smaller chapters, this is great recognition, right? This is great establishment. So another great reason to do this. So, however, lots and lots of change. I want to stress, even though I'm new, I want to stress that there is a lot that stays the same though, right? So at its core, the organization, or Volt, remains, a political movement that's really focused on inclusivity, connectedness, progressive and meaningful. Sorry, I'm really working on it still, but I feel them. So. But thank you. So, however, we remain core at the same at our core. We just get that extra legal personality that allows us to do more and access more funding. Now, when we talk about funding, what is that? So right now, that 48 million here, that is the total budget for all European political parties. That's not the money that we get, right? So just before you think I'm promising lots. No. I just wanted to be able to give you a bit more of that context of how much money are we talking about and so on, and how can we use that. It's 48 million was the budget in 2024 for all of the European political parties, which is great. There are 10 that exist at the moment. And the distribution share of how this gets allocated are based on two factors, right? One, the 10% is allocated just just equally across all of the political parties. And then the 90% is proportional to the number of MEPs you've got. Right, so that's really important for that year, essentially, when you're applying. So we would, if we were to get European political party status this year in 2025, we would be able to apply for the funding round in 2026. And so that's, we would be able to get some kind of proportion of that. To give you a ballpark figure, but don't quote me on this, it's around 1 million if we would be able to get this based on our current conditions, right? So, yeah. Spending conditions, how could we spend it though? Obviously, there are strings attached to that. It's really mainly based on administrative costs and funding of, for example, research, cross-border events, etc., stuff like the GA, and some personnel that works on that level. So very operational. Yeah. And then finally, money for EU elections only. So this is not money that we can allocate in every single national chapter for elections. This would be only for EU elections that we would be able to use that money. So we want to make that very, very clear right off the bat. Do I need to speed up? Yeah, no? Okay, I'm good. This is an incredibly difficult slide, and I left it that way intentionally. I'm going to come there. It's the reason how to become an EU political party. And I want to focus on two key requirements. Eva briefly touched upon it, right? Those 7 elected officials, elected officials in 7 different member states.
See, I thought it was kind of difficult.
Yeah, it's tricky. Well, I wanted to just give you the full story so that you clearly have that in mind, right? So there are 2 key requirements to be able to apply and submit that application package to the authority. One is the representation requirement, and one are some specific governance requirements. When it comes to the representation requirement, we either need to have, at least 1 elected official on European level, on national level, or on regional level, right, in 7 of the member states, 25% of the member states, or have 3% of the vote in the last European elections in a quarter of the member states, so 7 member states. Since we didn't get 3% of the vote in 7 member states yet, we will focus primarily on that other one, on getting the elected officials. And people cannot be part of 2 parties, right? So make that also super clear. So members are only Volt members in this case. When it comes to the governance side of things, just to give you some clarity on what's coming, there's really 3 aspects that are important to know. You know, the statutes will need to be somewhat reviewed just to make sure that they fully align with the requirements of a European political party according to EU. I mean, we're pretty much there, but you know, who knows? There might be tweaks or so that will have to be proposed to the GA. Second part is we will need to ensure that all the transparency processes, etc., are in place, right? So think of our financials, you know, how our donations are reported and so on. There'll be clear requirements from the EU as to how we manage those. And then finally, be prepared for auditing, right? Of course, we're an official European political party that's getting lots of funding from the EU. That means that we also get audited on a regular basis. So that means we need really the structures in place to be able to manage that, right? To be able to do that professionally and not lose EU political party status too quickly after that. No, just kidding. Sorry. No, sorry. Okay. But either way, George, maybe you can show us the plan on how to get there.
Fantastic. So now this is the exciting bit, is how we do it, right?
Yes.
The why is also cool, you know, the what is also important, but how we do it is also super important. And there are 3 core building blocks that we need to have in place for us to be able to do this, right? So the first thing that we need to do is we need to get these elected officials, right? So we've built a working group that's going to be working specifically around that, about identifying tactics that we need to be employing at the local level, potential opportunities for election success, and potential defectors that might join us. The second one is what Alain was just talking about, that beautiful slide that he had with all the text, is super important that we get that right, but there's also other things, right? We need to make sure the statutes are in place, the financial pieces are all moving in the right direction for us to get that status. Then the last one, and that's what I will be responsible for, so that's also good, is the communication and public relations, right? So we need to make sure that internally it makes sense, we're telling a story that makes sense, that everyone understands what we're doing, that we are all moving in the same direction. And the second piece is externally, we're also telling the same story, a consistent story internally and externally. We see that the most important thing in terms of moving forwards with this is that we all remember, as we said, that nothing really changes. It's just a status change. And actually, the things that change are positive because it's actually more influence and more scope to be effective. So, some stakeholders.
Sorry, can we just jump back to the previous slide briefly, like just to stress that part on the national chapters. Obviously, right, you know, we're building some tactics on how to, you know, best, you know, for example, acquire defectors, etc. But it's with the national chapters, right, that all of the magic really happens, right? Yeah. So you, like every single national chapter knows best, you know, who are potential people that, you know, could be able to move and fits to vote.
And we'll obviously be working with you guys to identify that, help to empower you, but we can't do all of the work because we're a small team. So, stakeholders, quickly, we will have monthly meetings with the European Board. We will be updating the Country Council on more or less a quarterly basis. Also, as we mentioned before, because we use the Country Council obviously to update a broad number of chapters in one go, right? But the important thing is that we will, through the Country Relations Office that Achille is going to present a bit more about later, we will be in much more regular contact. So the chapters will know what's going on. The Country Council is just a way of also formally making that a bit broader. Then Vault members, right? So this is stage one, right? Ensuring that you guys have a presentation at the GA so you can understand what's going on. But there's going to be more, and there's going to be Q&A sessions throughout the next year, and that's super important that we tune into that because we want, as we said, I can't stress this enough, it's super important that we're all rowing in the same direction on this piece. A little word on timeline. So the magic date is the 30th of September, 2025. That is the date where we will know whether we have the funding application. Before we do that, we need to have a lot of things ready though. Before we do that, at the beginning of September, we need to have put in the application. Basically, we need to put it in August, and we will know early September whether we can apply for that funding. So what that means is all of the things that we've discussed supporting chapters in targeting elections and getting defectors, coordinating all of those things. That needs to have happened. We need to have those 7 elected officials that we were talking about before. All of the legal, structural finance pieces need to be in place. So this needs to happen by then. And then obviously implementation of the PR strategy is mostly before, because it's a story we're telling, but then obviously the great thing about that magic date of the 30th of September is we can start to celebrate some wins.
Ambitious, but
Yeah.
that's when we thrive, right?
Exactly, exactly. So I just want to do something quickly. How you guys can help, right? Because we're a member-based organization, volunteer-based organization. We want everyone to also have their specific bite-sized chunk that they can play in this project. So in the room, can you give a cheer if you are from Volt Cyprus, Volt Germany, Volt Netherlands? I think you could probably do a bit louder though, no? A bit louder? Good, okay. So you might be sitting here going, okay, we've got some elected officials. We don't need to do anything. Is that what you're thinking? No, exactly, that's good. So we're a pan-European political party. So what this means is you guys need to get involved in elections around Europe, right? When you see that there's an opportunity to help out in a country which doesn't have an elected official yet on one of those levels that we talked about, you guys need to get involved, right? Do it. The fantastic thing about this organization is that you can go and campaign all over Europe. That is incredible. So that's very, very cool. So that's one thing, but also it's about internal accountability as well. So talk to your fellow members. So if you want to know how you can become a Euro party when the next elections are in Luxembourg, for example, you can come and visit me, then talk to me about it, right? Talk to your fellow members. Super important. If you're not part of one of those chapters, please raise your hand. Please shout. I think you could also go a bit louder, no? So for you guys, it's slightly different. But essentially, you still have to, get involved and also bring the energy. Number one, working with the European level. So when we work with you guys, make sure that you are in touch with us, identifying defectors, and making sure that you are identifying those electoral opportunities as well as possible. Get involved as well, nationally, right? We're talking about getting involved at the European level, connecting with us, but also engage, right? Engage with your local elected officials, with your local chapters, and make sure that you're working towards that goal. So what you can expect from us, just briefly, regular updates. So again, this is update number 1 of many. You can expect the Chapter of Relations Office. I'm really hooking and teasing Achille's next presentation, the Chapter of Relations Office, because he will present that in a moment. But we will be in contact with you on a regular basis through the Chapter Relations Office. Engagement survey. So we're going to work on an engagement survey where we want to understand what your concerns are about becoming a Euro party, what the problems and challenges are. We want to do a sort of a big data approach to that so that hopefully we can get some responses. So when you see that, respond to it, because it will be really useful for us to identify messages and create a coherent narrative. And then regular info sessions. Again, fairly similar to the regular updates, but again, we are really committed to making sure that this you are all informed and we're all, as I said, rowing in the same direction.
Excellent.
And reach out to us if you have any questions, especially Alain, because he's new as well.
Hey!
Woo.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
Yes. Achille, the stage is...
Thank you. Good morning.